Good evening. Welcome to California Today. I'm Liang Zhang. Here's a preview of some of today's stories. Moms for Liberty recently got back on Twitter. That's after their account was shut down for making a tweet about transgender issues in California. Twitter had labeled it as inappropriate. We'll hear what the co-founder had to say. People all know about 911, and now the mental health crisis version is 988. We visited a 24-hour crisis call center in Northern California to take a look. And the co-author of California's Three Strikes Law talked about why he and his father wrote it. One of the reasons was his sister being killed by a repeat offender. We'll hear what he says about its significance in reducing crime. Last week, a parental rights organization was locked out of Twitter after criticizing a California gender transition bill. After they say Twitter gave them no response for nearly a week, they rescinded their tweet and had their account reinstated. NTD's Daniel Hall hears why the moms are fighting so hard against the transgender bill.
Moms for Liberty, a parental rights organization started by two moms, was locked out of its Twitter account last week. The account was back on Monday. The incident began when they posted a tweet that criticized California's Senate Bill 107 called Gender-Affirming Healthcare. Co-founder Tiffany Justice discussed the bill before Twitter reactivated the account.
SB 107, which is a bill in California that State Senator Scott Wiener has put up and sponsored, that would in essence make California a sanctuary state for children that are seeking gender transition.
Twitter then locked the organization's account, citing violations like harassment of race, ethnicity, and gender. The original tweet said, "Gender dysphoria is a mental health disorder that is being normalized by predators across the USA. California kids are at extreme risk from predatory adults."
Twitter apparently didn't like that, so they have locked me out of the account and said it was hateful conduct, and I'm not quite sure. I've asked many times to Twitter now. I've asked every day, actually, and I'm still not sure why it was considered to be hateful conduct. They have not given us that answer. I think it's very clear that Twitter can't give me an explanation because there isn't one.
Nicole Young, a leader of the group's Placer County chapter in California, denounced the Twitter lockout and called it blatant censorship. She accused state lawmakers of intentionally keeping parents in the dark about gender-affirming legislation.
It wasn't a lie. It wasn't a misrepresentation. It was a factual statement. It was obviously one Twitter did not like. I do not agree with censorship. I do not agree with digital platforms censoring voices that they don't like on either side, progressive or conservative. All voices should be heard, and it's up to us to decide whether that is true or false.
Justice said they were disappointed in Twitter and are not anticipating any response. She canceled the appeal to gain back full control of her account. Justice added she wants to keep growing her organization and educating its members of what is going on in the classrooms. The organization says that parents should be the decision makers for their children and not lawmakers. SB 107 is set to be heard again in the legislature this week.
An armed robbery backfired when suspects enter a store in Riverside County with long guns. The store owner shoots one, scaring them away.
Four armed suspects attempted to rob a liquor store in Norco on Sunday. Photos and surveillance videos show the suspects wearing facial coverings and hoods coming out from a dark-colored BMW SUV and approaching the entrance with long guns. They pointed their rifles at the owner in the store. The 80-year-old fired a single shot from a shotgun, causing the suspects to flee. Authorities located the suspects at a hospital where one is suffering from a gunshot wound. They found the vehicle, which was stolen, with numerous stolen firearms. 3 suspects were immediately arrested and booked in the Robert Presley Detention Center for robbery and conspiracy. The 3 identified suspects, all in their 20s from different cities, are being held on a $500,000 bail. The main 23-year-old male suspect remains hospitalized in critical but stable condition. His name has not been released. He will be booked into Riverside County Jail upon his release from the hospital. According to the sheriff's office, in this case, a lawfully armed member of our community prevented a violent crime and ensured their own safety while being confronted with multiple armed suspects. The incident is under investigation. Those with information are encouraged to contact the sheriff's office.
When someone needs help in a crisis, they all know to dial 911. And now the mental health crisis version of that is live, with a similarly short number, 988. With the newly established number comes newly established call centers. That's where NTD's David Lam went to see how these crisis call centers work.
On Tuesday, the county of Santa Clara in Northern California debuted its new crisis call center to help those with mental health crises. The number 988 is a combined line from different call services, which previously received hundreds of calls per day.
Our ultimate goal is making sure that we send the right response to the right call. If it's a mental health call, we want to be able to send a clinician. If it's a public safety call, it's going to go back to public safety. If it's a family in crisis, we're going to be able to get them counseling.
Now they're trying to implement it under one roof.
Come this fall, this whole section will be filled with teams from different response units, and it's to make things simple for those who call 988.
According to the county, they have 10 full-time county staff and 75 volunteers trained to help those experiencing emotional distress, such as thoughts of suicide, mental health, or substance use.
Yeah, I think it's essential.
A program manager with the county says there's been an uptick on demand and services from callers.
When you're in crisis, when you're having a crisis situation, you don't want to have to press a bunch of phone tree options and call a bunch of different numbers and be transferred around as much. You want to be able to talk to somebody.
The responders on the other end can deploy in-person help or connect to another service.
On the non-crisis team, we get 400 calls a day. On the suicide, we get about 100 calls. Again, we get right around 75 to 80,000 total calls a year.
Along with the new 988 crisis number, the county still has a non-crisis line at 1-800-704-0900. In the future, they hope to unify it under the 988 phone system in order to expedite their services. David Lam, NTD News, California.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband, Paul Pelosi, is scheduled for an arraignment on Wednesday. He is facing drunk driving charges. Paul Pelosi is charged with causing injury while driving under the influence of alcohol on May 28th near Pelosi's home near St. Helena in Napa Valley. According to the New York Post, Pelosi reeked of alcohol and had red and watery eyes after allegedly hitting into a SUV on his way home from a dinner party. The DA's office said a DUI resulting in injury can lead to a misdemeanor or a felony. With the reforms in the criminal justice system, California tried to bring forward a ballot initiative to remove the state's three strikes law this year. But the initiative didn't collect enough signatures. The attorney who took part in drafting the law explains what the law is and why he and his father put it together.
California's three strikes law was written to avoid giving a second chance to the wrong kind of person. That's according to Michael Reynolds, a private attorney who helped author the law. He explained to California Insider's CMAC Karami how three strikes law works.
The three strikes law, to get the highest sentence under that, which is 25 years to life, you had to commit a felony as your triggering crime, but you had to have at least 2 serious or violent prior felonies.
In California, it costs about $106,000 per year to incarcerate an inmate. But Reynolds says society pays an even higher cost when the criminals are released to commit crimes. He experienced the tragedy firsthand. After his sister was murdered in July 1992, he and his father started the Three Strikes Law initiative.
We had this explosion of crime in California, and it had just been getting worse and worse and worse until the early 1990s. It just became intolerable. And that, of course, is when my sister was killed by repeat felons who were on parole. And sure enough, the rap sheets of the men who killed my sister were case in point of why you have to change the balance of power in favor of law-abiding citizens and not in favor of these criminals with a rap sheet a mile long.
California crimes are divided into 3 types. Infractions are the lowest type of crime, like running a stop sign. Misdemeanors are medium-level crimes that don't usually result in incarceration. Felonies are the most serious, punishable by time in state prison. After the 3 strikes law passed in 1994, prisoners had to serve at least 80% of their sentence before they are eligible for parole. In 2021, the Attorney General proposed to repeal it, saying it would decrease the prison population and use the funds for education, restorative justice, and transitional housing. But Reynolds said the right people were behind bars.
The reason the prison population didn't explode, which is what a lot of the pundits said, was because the people who were locking up were already going to prison. They were serving life in prison anyway. They were just doing it in installments. They would, do 2 or 3 years for a serious crime. They'd come out, and then within a few months, they'd be right back in. So we were just eliminating that interregnum in between prison sentences, and in doing so, we were eliminating the crimes they were committing, which means we were preventing more and more people from becoming crime victims.
Reynolds added that it wasn't only a higher police presence that kept crime low, but also keeping the career criminals off the streets.
To watch the full program, find California Insider on YouTube or Epic TV on the Epic Times website. We're going to take a short break, but here's a look at what we got for you when we come back. Rent prices may be going up across the state. That's due to a bill that went into effect on August 1st, something which Governor Gavin Newsom signed years ago. We'll see how much more renters may be paying. And the Los Angeles County is providing free recycled water to almost anyone who wants it, but it should only be used for one thing. That's according to the policy manager of the program. That and more on California Today. On Saturday, the Los Gatos police arrested 5 suspects involved in the Apple Store robbery in Walnut Creek. Police pursued the suspects during a high-risk vehicle stop, where 2 were arrested. They found 2 loaded handguns. One was a ghost gun. Further investigation revealed 3 more suspects in another vehicle, which contained the stolen laptops, iPads, and iPhones. Some renters in California will face up to 10% increase in rent. That's from a new law going into effect Monday, allowing landlords to raise rental prices to a new capped level.
California renters may soon be paying more every month. For example, Southern California renters may face a monthly increase of between $200 and $300. That's on top of some of the highest prices in the country. The rental hikes are authorized by a statewide rent control and tenant protection law, Assembly Bill 1482. Governor Gavin Newsom signed it into law in October 2019. AB 1482 caps annual rent increases in the state at 5%, plus the cost of living, which reached 9.1% nationally last month, but restricts most increases to 10%. The state estimates about 1.5 million tenants are facing eviction following the moratorium that allowed them to claim exemption from rental payments if they were affected by the pandemic. But according to Brittany Benson, general manager of the Los Angeles-based National Association of Independent Landlords, quote, "There are a lot of landlords that still haven't been paid. If someone's not paying rent, raising it isn't going to make a huge difference." She added that in cities that already have a rent control ordinance in place, AB 1482 extends rent caps to some additional housing not covered under existing local laws. According to the California Apartment Association, the law exempts most single-family homes and condominiums, commercial properties, and housing built within the last 15 years. 46% of Californians say their housing costs make them seriously consider moving out of the area of the state in which they live, with most of them saying they have seriously considered moving out of state, according to the survey. Bill Thomas, NTD News, California.
University of California, Irvine was awarded a multi-million-dollar grant to expand a study of Orange County's young adult court. The court program is to help men in their teens and 20s change their life path and reduce low-level felonies.
The Orange County Healthcare Agency has awarded the University of California, Irvine a $10 million grant to expand a study of the effectiveness of the Young Adult Court, or YAC. Launched in 2018, YAC is a program for males aged 18 to 25 charged with a felony. Its goal is to help them reduce their sentences and lead a productive life. Elizabeth Kaufman, a UCI professor of psychological science, education, and law, created the research project. She said, quote, "The goal of the program is to really get kids back on track quickly. The new funding will allow the research team to extend tracking time, expand research capacity, and provide mental health counseling. The biggest incentive for participating in the program is that defendants' felony charges will be reduced to a misdemeanor or dismissed when they complete a list of requirements. Based on the Young Adult Court criteria, only people with low-level felonies are eligible. Currently, the court has 17 graduates, and all had their felonies removed from their records."
In Los Angeles, as residents face extreme drought and watering limitations, a local agency is providing a solution to maintaining healthy flora: free recycled water. NTD's Jackie Rios went to speak to the program manager about what it is and just how much people can come and get.
For many Southern Californians, water feels like a precious commodity. And in the city of Los Angeles, you could actually be fined for using too much of it. So why is the LA Department of Water and Power giving away free water? We dove in to find out the answer. On July 28th, the LA Department of Water and Power, or LADWP, reopened 2 free recycled water fill stations for their customers. The water supply comes as the state is facing extreme drought. The recycled water is being provided to over 4 million customers to help with irrigation needs. Recycled Water Policy Manager Jesus Gonzalez shared how much water customers can take.
Customers can receive up to 300 gallons of free recycled water. In addition to that, we are also providing free containers for our customers to pick up. Customers can come as many times as they want, up to 300 gallons per visit, and we encourage them to come as often as possible.
To be eligible, one is to show proof of use and will be provided with a brief training class before filling up. For those who are wondering what recycled water is, Gonzalez explains.
So recycled water is treated wastewater. It goes through multiple steps of treatment before it's considered recycled water. It's regulated by the state. There's a lot of precautionary conditions that have to be met. We meet all of those, and so it's more than appropriate to use, again, for outdoor irrigation.
But Gonzalez warns against using recycled water as drinkable water or for other household uses.
We do not want our customers to drink the water or to provide it to their pets. We ask that customers do not boil this recycled water. It's specifically designed for outdoor irrigation, again, for plants, for trees, for their gardens, and for people's outdoor drought-tolerant landscape.
He encourages customers to bring their own water containers. Gonzalez reminds customers to keep in mind just how much weight one will be lugging around.
But 300 gallons is a lot more water than what people think. It would weigh quite a bit. It would weigh more than a 4-door sedan.
The LADWP provides details for customers on their website, as well as times and locations to fill up. As we struggle through another drought with limited water supplies and summer heat, the LADWP is stepping up to help you conserve and save with recycled water. Jackie Rios, NTD News, Los Angeles.
Now to NTD's Thomas Christian for an update on sports.
I'm Thomas Christian, and this is the California Today Sports Roundup. The Washington Nationals waited until right before Major League Baseball's August 2nd trade deadline to finally move All-Star Juan Soto after teams were falling over each other in a bidding war to land the 23-year-old slugger. Also included in the deal is star first baseman Josh Bell. This morning, it was announced that the San Diego Padres are the winners of the Juan Soto sweepstakes, being able to make a massive offer for the outfielder even after trading for All-Star reliever Josh Hader a day ago. Originally, Padres first baseman Eric Hosmer was to be moved to Washington in the deal. However, Hosmer exercised a no-trade clause in his contract that would have needed to be waived by him for the deal to go through. However, reports have said that Hosmer opted to stay in San Diego, but the Nationals and the Padres have already agreed to an alternate trade excluding Hosmer. Eric Hosmer was subsequently traded to the Boston Red Sox. Going to the Washington Nationals in the deal for Josh Bell and Juan Soto, left-hander Mackenzie Gore, Robert Hassel III, C.J. Abrams, and James Wood and Harleen Susana. Juan Soto will become the big bat in the lineup the Padres will hopefully take advantage of as the playoffs are right around the corner. He was an all-star in his last 2 seasons, batting .313 last season to go along with 29 home runs and 95 RBIs for the Nationals. Bell is another effective bat for San Diego as he is currently averaging .301 from the batter's box and is usually good for 25 to 30 home runs per season, as well as being a reliable glove at first base. In 2 days, the Padres have added 3 All-Stars in reliever Josh Hader, Soto, and Bell. Currently in second place in the NL West, they sit 12 games back of the Dodgers in first, at least for now. The PGA Tour announced record prize money for the 2022-23 season on Monday, with 8 invitationals offering elevated purses between $15 million and $25 million. The move comes as the circuit is fighting back against the Saudi-backed Live Golf Invitational Series, which has led to the defection of several high-profile players on multi-million-dollar deals, including 6-time major winner Phil Mickelson. The total value of the purses for the 43 non-majors is $428.6 million, an increase of $68.3 million from the previous season, according to the tour. Just 70 players will earn a start to the first FedEx Cup Playoffs event, with the Tour Championship set to begin on August 21st in Atlanta. The tour moves to a calendar year season in 2024. Last month, the PGA Tour sent a memo to players outlining a new ranking called the FedEx Cup Playoffs and Eligibility Points List that omits players who have been suspended but not resigned from the circuit. The move ensured those who joined the Live Golf Invitational Series do not negatively impact others' eligibility. The 2022-23 PGA Tour season will include 47 tournaments and begin September 12th with the 40-Knit Championship in Napa, California. After recovering from a shoulder injury and a 2-year injury absence, Chargers safety Derwin James was expected to be ready to go for training camp last week. Instead, he is holding out in an attempt to gain leverage for a new contract with the team, according to Jeff Miller of the LA Times. James still reported to training camp last Tuesday, but stayed out of live practice and drills to instead do his own work on the side. He is still holding out of camp, hoping for an extension with the Chargers and likely more financial security, especially given his injury history. Derwin James returned to the field in 2021 after spending 2 years recovering from a left lateral meniscus tear. In his return season, he played like he never left the field, racking up 118 tackles, 3 forced fumbles, 2 sacks, and 2 interceptions in 15 games.
As always, I'm Thomas Christian, and thanks for tuning in.
That's all we've got for you tonight. We'd like you to join us again on California Today every weekday at 8:30 p.m. Make sure to check out our broadcasts on California Today webpage. You can find it at ntd.com/California-today. You can also find all of our top latest clips there, ready to share with friends and family. Send us a message on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, or through our email, california.today@ntd.com. I'm Liang Zhang. Have a wonderful evening.